Hello and welcome to Satellite Image Exploration with Python. And in this series, let's have a look at the agenda that we have today. So first of all, we'll be looking into the Sentinel data band reading for RGB. Then we'll be looking for false color composite. Then we'll generate an NDVI. We'll look for the land cover map. And finally, we'll be looking at a case study of atmospheric monitoring of across India. So let's start. Hello and welcome to Geospatial Analysis with Python. So in this series, we'll be looking into the true color image generation, that is the RGB true color image generation with Jupyter Notebook. So the dataset that we'll be using is the Sentinel data collection, and for that we'll be using Earth Engine dataset. So let's get started and jump into our Jupyter Notebook. Let's see. So here we are. This is the Jupyter interface that you will be looking at. And if you do not know how to install Python or how to install Jupyter Notebook into your computer, you can go to the description link and you can find how to install Python and how to install Jupyter. So in order to generate a true color image from the Sentinel data, we would be requiring to import libraries. The first library that we would be requiring is pip install EE, where EE stands for Earth Engine. So I'll just go to my Jupyter Notebook and I'll type pip install EE. So if I press the run button, you can see the requirement is already satisfied. So I have already installed this library. So you can import this library now. But before that, we need to install another library. The name of the library is GEE Map, Google Earth Engine Map. So I'll just copy it from here. I'll go to my Jupyter Notebook and I'll just type it here and I'll just play the run button, and you can see this requirement is already satisfied. So we have successfully installed both of the libraries. Now it's time to import the libraries. So let's import the libraries. So I'll just type import EE and import GEE map. So I'll just run it, and this time it has run without any error. So now let's create a variable called map, and I'll just pass on GEE map dot map function, and I'll just write map into it. So this time I'll run it. You can see a map will be generated into our Jupyter Notebook. As we expected, a map has been generated. So let's zoom it. You can drag it, you can zoom it, you can create point, lines and polygons to it, similar to your Google Earth map. So let's zoom to our location. So this is the location. We'll be creating a true color image for this particular region, that is the Delhi NCR region. But there is an issue. Every time I run the function, the map reboots itself and we have to zoom and drag to the target location. So let's set a map center. So for that, I'll be using the function map.setCenter. Just remember the syntax and just pass it on the latitude and longitude of the area. So I'll be using latitude and longitude of Delhi NCR and just pass on the zoom level. So let's take the zoom level to be 8. Just put a semicolon to it, and this time you can see when I run the function, the map, it just replaces itself and it shifted itself to the target location. Let's move ahead. No, okay, so we have imported the map, we have set the center. So let's create the location point. So the dataset would be reduced, or rather than dataset would be restricted by this location point. So let's define this point as ee.geometry and dot point. So I'll just pass it on the same latitude and longitude that I have used for setting the map center. I'll just pass it here. I'll put a semicolon to it, and that's it. We are good to go. I'll just run it. So we have a location point to it. So now let's take importing the data. So I'll go to my browser. So the very easy way to get the data is just go to the browser and type Earth Engine datasets. So when you click, so you can see Earth Engine data catalog. Just click the link and you will be taken to the Earth Engine data catalog. So it has a huge collection of data. We have Landsat, MODIS, Sentinel. So we are interested in Sentinel data. So I'll go to the Sentinel data link. So this is the Sentinel collection. So it do have a lot of collection to it. So I'll just go to the Sentinel multispectral instrument data. So this is the Sentinel-2 page. So we have surface reflectance data and we have top of atmosphere reflectance. The availability of data is different and that is mentioned. So I'll just go to top of atmosphere reflectance. You can go to surface reflectance as well, but let's create it for a sample. So dataset availability is from 2015. The dataset provider, that is the European Union, ESA Copernicus, and the Earth Engine snippet is also mentioned. So I'll just copy the Earth Engine snippet and I'll jump back to my Jupyter notebook. I'll just paste it to my data variable and put a semicolon to it. This time I'll run it. So data has been successfully installed rather than imported into our Jupyter notebook. Now this data covers the whole Earth, but we require it to cover just our region. So we'll be putting a function called filter bounds and I'll just pass it on my point. That's it. I'll run it and there is no error. So we have successfully imported the data for our own region. So now let's extract the image that we require. So I'll create a variable called image and I'll pass ee.image function, and for that I'll be using my data that I have already clipped or rather than extracted for our region. So I'll just pass it on another function called filter date. So I'll just filter date my data, and for that I'll be using 2019 01 that is the 1st January 2019. I'll put a comma and I'll just pass another date 2019 December 31st. That's it. We have successfully clipped the data between these two dates. Next we need to sort the data. So I'll just put dot sort and we require some properties. So in order to get the properties, just jump back to the Sentinel-2 data and you can see this is the band collection. So that will be coming back shortly. Go to the image properties and there are a lot of properties that you can see here, and the description you can see, check out here. So I'll just go to the cloud coverage assessment. I'll copy it, jump back to my Jupyter notebook and I'll just sort my data based upon the cloud coverage assessment. Now from this sorted data I'll just collect the first image and I'll just end this line by semicolon. So that's it. We are good to go. We have imported the image that we require. So let's create a display variable that would require in order to create the map onto the map console. So I'll just put a column, inverted commas, and I'll just pass it on few functions. So first function that I'll be using is the bands. I'll put a colon. Another thing that we require is minimum. Just put a colon. Next we require maximum, and this time I'll also put a colon. For the bands we will be creating a true color image. So let's jump back to the Sentinel-2 data and you can see in the band section there are red band, green band and blue band. These three bands would be required. So the name of the bands is band 4, that is a red band, band 3, that is a green band, and band 2, that is the blue band. These will be required. The wavelength you can check it out. We have 664.5 nanometer, that is the red band, 560 nanometer, that is the green band, and 496.6 nanometer, that is the blue band. You can also check the pixel size, but this information is of no use right now. So let's jump back to the Jupyter notebook and import the bands. We'll import B4, that is the red band, put a comma, import B3, that is the blue band, that is the green band, and just import B2, that is the blue band. As you can see from here, the red band, B4, green band, B3, blue band, B2. That's it. Jump back to the Jupyter notebook and just put a comma over here. For the minimum value I'll be using 0. Again put a comma. For the maximum value I'll be using 3000. The syntax is important, So just run it. Very well, it runs without any error. So let's add all the layers onto the map. For that I'll be using map.add layer function, and I'll just pass it on my image layer and my display layer. That's it. I'll put semicolon and I'll just write map. Let's run it and let's see what we have got. So we have got a nice clipped RGB image onto our location. Let's zoom it and see how closely we can look at. Okay, you can see there is some nice view that you can have from here. So as you can see, there is a deep blue color that represents the water, the green color that represents agriculture or the forest land. Then you can also check it out that there is the bare land, and this side you can see there is some urban area. The urban areas can be seen here. So you can see that's some beautiful RGB true color image we have generated using Jupyter Notebook. That's it. Thank you for watching. So this is the Jupyter interface that you will be getting. So if you do not know how to install Jupyter or how to install Python, just go to the description link and you will find it out. So we require two particular libraries. So let's see what libraries we'll be using. So this is EE, where E stands for Earth Engine. So we'll be installing it. I'll just go back to my Jupyter Notebook. I have written it, so I'll uncomment it and I'll run it. So in the meantime, I'll go to another library, that is the GEE map. This is called Google Earth Engine map. So we'll just copy it from here and jump back to the Jupyter Notebook. So I've written it, I'll uncomment it and I'll run it. So as you can see, for the first library, that is the pip install EE, we have the requirement already satisfied. It means I have already installed it. You might get that the library is installed successfully, you might get this message, and similarly here we are getting the requirement already satisfied. So if you have installed it already, no issues, you can move forward. So next is, after installing the libraries, we need to import it. I'll just uncomment both the imports and I'll run it. So as you can see, we have imported successfully and without any error. That's it, we are good to go. So let's create a map. So I'll make a variable called map and I'll pass it on the function gemap.map, and I'll just write map and I'll play the run button. So you can see a map will be generated over here like this. So you can, this is similar to your Google map. You can drag it, you can zoom it, you can create point, lines and polygons to it. So I'll just zoom it to my target location. So we will be creating the false color composite for Delhi NCR region. So this is our target location. So but there is a problem with this function. Every time I run this line, you can see the map reboots itself and we have to again zoom to our target location. So in order to avoid that, we have to set a map center. So I'll uncomment the function that is the map.setCenter, and I'll pass it on the latitude and longitude of Delhi NCR region, and I'll set the zoom level. So this 8 represents your zoom level. You can increase it, you can decrease it, you can put it 5 and you can put it 10 also. So it's up to you. So you have to end every line with a semicolon. We are good to go. I'll just put a run button and you can see this time the map is already shifted rather than focused. Hello and welcome to Geospatial Analysis with Python. So in this session, we'll be looking into NDVI generation from the Sentinel data, and the platform that we'll be using is the Jupyter Notebook. So let's jump into our Jupyter Notebook. Hello and welcome. So today we'll be generating NDVI for Delhi NCR region, and for that, let's import two libraries. First of all, I'll import EE, that is the Earth Engine. Nextly, I'll import GEE map. That's it. I have successfully imported both of them. So if we get an error, so I'll just comment the importing function. You can just write pip install EE, and another library you can just pip install GEE map. So you can install both the libraries using these functions, and you can import both of them using these functions. So let's move ahead and create a variable called map. Now in this variable I'll pass it on geemap.map function, and I'll just write map in order to create it. So let's see what happens. So as you can see, a map has been generated over here. So this map is similar to your Google map. You can drag it, you can zoom it. So I'll just zoom to my target location. So we'll be creating NDVI for Delhi NCR region. So let's move ahead and just set our map center so that we do not need to zoom again and again. So let's create set center function. So I'll just write map dot set center, and I'll pass the latitude and longitude to it. So these are the latitude and longitude for Delhi NCR region, and I'll pass the zoom level. So the zoom level is 9. You can increase this, you can decrease it. That's it, we are good to go. Let's run it, and map has already shifted itself toward our target location. Now let's create a location point so that we can clip our data. So I'll just create a variable called point, and I'll just pass ee.geometry.point. That's it. I'll pass the same latitude and longitude to it. I'll just put a semicolon. I'll terminate every line with a semicolon, that is the syntax. And if you run it, so you have no error, we have successfully created a location point. Now let's import the data. So for that I'll create a variable called data, and for the data I'll be using Google Earth Engine datasets. So I'll just open up my browser and I'll write Earth Engine datasets. So as you can see, these are the datasets. You have to go to this link, developers.google.com, Earth Engine datasets. So I'll go to this link. So we have landed on the Earth Engine data catalog. So here we have Landsat data, Moody's data, Sentinel data, and a huge collection of other datasets. So let's go to the Sentinel data. So here we are on the Sentinel collection page. Let's scroll it down a bit. So as you can see, we have Sentinel-1 SAR data, Sentinel-2 multispectral data, we have Sentinel-3, Sentinel-5. So let's move forward with the Sentinel-2 multispectral instrument data. So I'll just click it, and we have landed on Sentinel-2 dataset. So it has two options. The very first one is the surface reflectance, and the other one is top of atmosphere reflectance. The dataset availability is different for both the dataset. So let's go with the top of atmosphere reflectance. You can also go for surface reflectance, it hardly matters. So we'll go for top of atmosphere reflectance. And here we are on the Sentinel-2 multispectral dataset. The availability of dataset from 2015 to the current date, and we have dataset provider here. Now we have Earth Engine snippet. I'll just copy it and I'll jump back to my Jupyter notebook. So now in my data variable I'll just paste it, and I'll terminate the line using a semicolon, and I'll just play the run button. So as you can see, without any error, we have successfully imported the data into our Jupyter notebook. Now let's clip the data for our location point. So I'll just pass our dot filter bounds function, and I'll pass it on my point location. Now that's it, I'll run it. So now we have successfully imported and clipped our data based on filter bounds function. Let's move forward. Now this data contains a huge amount of information, so let's restrict our search and create a variable called image, and I'll make a function use of ee.image, and I'll pass my data into it. Now I will restrict the data based upon a function filter date, and I'll pass it on the date that I'm using, 2019 01/01, that is the 1st of January 2019, and I'll be using the complete whole year data. So for that I'll be using 12/31st, that is the 31st December 2019. So we have successfully clipped the data for this filter date function and for this particular whole year 2019. Moving ahead, this data contains a huge number of dataset and a huge number of image collection. So I'll just sort this data based upon a parameter. So what is that parameter? Let's jump back to our dataset. Now just scroll it down, and you can see a description section over here. So it contains some description about the Sentinel-2 dataset. We have a band section, there are several bands. We'll make use of this shortly. Then we have our image property section and we have a terms of use section. So we'll make use of image properties now. So there are several properties that are mentioned over here. You can find a description over here. So let's make use of cloud coverage assessment. So I'll just copy it and I'll jump back to my Jupyter notebook and I'll sort my data based upon the cloud coverage assessment. That's it. We have sorted the data. So now from this sorted data, I'll select the very first image using .first function and I'll terminate this line of code using a semicolon. I'm good to go. I'll just run the line. So I have successfully clipped the data and restricted my data onto my target location that I have already set over here based upon the time series that I have here. We have 2019 1st of January to 2019 31st of December, and we have sorted the data based upon the cloud coverage assessment and we have selected the very first image from that sorted data. So far so good. Let's move forward. Now let's create a variable for generating NDVI. So I'll make NDVI variable and I'll pass my image to it and I'll pass the function image.expression to it. Now for that I'll pass the NDVI function. So this is the NDVI function for that. That's NIR minus red divided by NIR plus red. That is the general function for generating NDVI. Now let's go to our Sentinel-2 dataset. So we'll go to the band section and we'll see what particular band we'll be using. So we are using first band, that is the NIR. We have a 835 nanometer wavelength, 10 meter pixel size, scale is 0.0001 and the name is band 8. So for next band that we are using is the red band, 664.4 nanometer, 10 meter of pixel size and a similar scale, and the name is band 4. So we'll make use of band 8, that is the NIR band, band 4, that is the red band. So let's jump back to the Jupyter notebook and define the red and the NIR bands. So I'll just create another, let's set, that is a section. Now let's define the variable we have already used, that is NIR, and let's put a colon to it. Now I'll define that image dot select, and for NIR I am using my band 8. That's it. Next I'll move ahead and I'll pass another band, that is the red band. I have already used it, so I'll define it now. We have image dot select, and for that I'll be using band 4. That's it. We are good to go. So what we can do, okay, we can terminate it using a semicolon and we'll just run it. So this has run without any error. That means we have successfully generated our NDVI image. Now let's add these layers. I'll just pass a function map.add layer. That's it. And I'll pass my layers. The first layer is the image, the other layer is the NDVI. That's it. That's how you can plot your NDVI image. But before that, let's put it aside and create one more thing for the display. If you run this particular line of code, you'll get an NDVI image, but let's create it more beautiful. So I'll create a display variable over here and I'll generate a display function. So I'll just create, first of all I'll create a minimum value and I'll put a colon to it. Then I'll create a maximum value and I'll again put a colon to it, and finally I'll create a color palette. That's it. Okay, everything like this. The syntax is important. Let's put a colon over here. Let's move forward. Take the minimum value as 0 and take the maximum value as 1. That is the general trend. For the palette color, we have some predefined notions for the NDVI that we can use here. So that's it. We have a blue, yellow, green, dark green and black. So you can use your own palette color, it hardly matters. Let's move forward. But before that, just put commas over here because syntax is important. Now we have to run it and it has run without any error. So now we have image, we have NDVI, so we do not require this image to be displayed. We have NDVI already. So now I'll pass display over here. That's it. Okay, we are good to go. Let's put a map over here and let's run it. So as you can see, a map has been generated onto Delhi NCR region. So this is a good NDVI image that we have generated. That's it. So we have successfully created an NDVI image for the Delhi NCR region. You can create your own NDVI regions for your own latitude and longitude. That's it. Thank you and see you next time. Hello and welcome to Geospatial Analysis with Python. So in this session, we'll be generating a land cover map for India, and the tool that we'll be using is Jupyter Notebook. So let's jump into a Jupyter Notebook and let's get started. So here we are into a Jupyter Notebook. So let's first start by importing the libraries. So I'll import EE, that is the Earth Engine. I'll run it and I'll then import GEE map. These two libraries are sufficient in order to generate the land cover map for India. Let's move forward and create a map. So I'll just make a usual variable that is use. We have map, and I'll just pass GEE map dot map function, and I'll just write map here in order to generate a map over here. So that's it. We have successfully generated a map. You can just drag it, you can zoom it, similar to your Google Maps. Let's move forward and just put a center to it so that we do not need to drag and drop every time. So I'll just create map dot set center, and I'll just pass a latitude and longitude to it. So let's pass 78,28, and I'll just pass a zoom level to it. So let's say 4, and I'll just terminate the line using a semicolon, and I'll just hit the run button. So you can see map has already shifted itself, and you can see a good nice view of Indian terrain over here. Let's move forward and let's create the data. So I'll just make a variable data. Now where does this data come from? Again the same answer. We'll go to the Google Earth Engine. I'll just go to my browser and type there Earth Engine datasets. I'll just write Earth Engine datasets. That's it. We are good to go. So I'll go to developers.google.com Earth Engine dataset. That's it. We have landed on a page, Earth Engine catalog. So let's view all the datasets and then decide what particular dataset will help us to create a land cover map for India. Let's go to view all datasets. Here we are landed on a page where we can see all the data collections over here. So in order to generate a land cover map, we'll require a Copernicus data. So I'll just type here Copernicus. You don't need to even type complete name. You can just type copper and you can find out Copernicus global land cover layers over here. Just click this particular dataset that we'll be using, and you will land it on a page Copernicus global land cover layers. The availability of dataset is from 2015 to 2019, and the dataset provider is Copernicus. Then we have Earth Engine snippet over here. You can just copy this line and you can just copy it. Now we will jump back to our Jupyter Notebook, and I'll just paste it over here into our data variable that we have created already, and I'll terminate the line using the semicolon. But we do not require image collection. We'll just pass an image variable to it. So I'll just pass image and I'll hit the run button. That's it. We have successfully imported the data into our Jupyter Notebook. But this data contains a lot more information than we require. So I'll just jump back to my dataset and I'll just go to the band section. We have some description section over here, then we have band section. We have image properties, terms of use, citations, POI. You can just check it out, and we'll make use of discrete classification band, and I'll just copy this and I'll just jump back to my Jupyter Notebook and I'll make use of dot select function, and I'll pass my copied discrete classification over here. Now I have already terminated it. So let's hit the run button over here. So we have successfully imported the data and we have selected the discrete classification from our dataset. But this data contains the information about whole the earth, but we'll require it for the India region. So what we'll do, we'll create a shape file of India. So let's make a variable shape. That's it. So there are particular ways in order to import a shapefile into Jupyter Notebook. So I'll just comment it over here. You can make use of very popular GeoPandas. We can make use of Fiona library, that is also very famous. Then again you can make use of PyShape. So you have various ways in order to import your shapefile into your Jupyter Notebook. But since I have already imported the Earth Engine library, so I'll make use of Earth Engine library. You can make use of any other library because the main function that we require here is a shapefile. So the method of importing shapefile is of not much importance. So I'll make use of a function ee.featureCollection and I'm good to go. That's it. So I'll just pass my path to the shapefile. So you can find this path in the description section if you want to use the same shapefile, and you can use the same function in order to import the shapefile. You do not require to install GeoPandas or Fiona or PyShape. You can just make use of this particular line of code and just terminate it using a semicolon, and let's hit the run button. Now we are good to go. We have our data that we have selected the discrete classification. We have our shapefile that we have already created over here. Now let's move forward and just clip our data to our shapefile. So I'll create a variable image and I'll just pass my data into it. We have data. Now I will use the function .clip and I'll just pass my shapefile to it. We have a shape. That's it. Terminate the line using a semicolon and we are good to go. Let's hit the run button. So we have successfully created an image. Now it's time to paste all the data that we have created into our map so that we can have a beautiful visual view. But before that, let's restrict our data. So I'll just pass my year that we need to select into our data. So I'll just pass, let's say 2019, the most recent data that we can have. So into your data section, you have to pass it on the year of the data that you require in order to generate the image. So I'll just hit a run button over here. Then we have already imported the shapefile. Then we have clipped the data. Now it's time to put it on the map. So I'll just make a function map.add layer and I'll add my image layer to it. So I'll just pass image to it. I'll terminate the line in the semicolon and I'll just write map here. I'll hit the run button now. We are good to go. Here we are. So as you can see, a nice land cover map has been generated. So let's zoom a bit in order to get a better view. So now we can clearly see the land cover classification over there. We have a green, a tint of yellow, we have red, we have blue, yellowish green, dark green. So we can see all of these land cover classification over here. And this is, if I zoom it out, you can see the whole India has been covered in this land cover shape. That's it. So we have successfully created a shapefile. We have successfully imported the data and then we have clipped the data onto our shapefile. So if you want to know that which color represent what particular type of land cover, let's jump back to our dataset that we have, the Copernicus Global Land Cover Layers. So let's go down to the band section and let's scroll it down. There you can see the discrete classification color table. Here you can see the value of the color and the description about the color. So we have vegetation over here, permanent water bodies, then we have closed forests, then we have open forest, we have ocean seas. So you can see these type of classifications are generally very helpful for analysis. We are good to go now. Thank you. Hello and welcome to Geospatial Analysis with Python. So in this session, we'll be looking for the atmospheric monitoring and we'll be looking for sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, ultraviolet aerosol index, carbon monoxide and methane concentration. So let's jump into our Jupyter Notebook and let's get started. So let's start this session, and in this session, we'll be looking for the atmospheric monitoring. So we have few parameters listed here. So we'll be looking for sulfur dioxide mapping. Next we have nitrogen dioxide. We'll be looking for aerosol index. Then we'll go for the carbon monoxide mapping. And finally we'll end the session by mapping the methane concentration across India. We'll be generating the maps of these 5 parameters across India. So let's get started and import our libraries. So I'll import EE and I'll hit the run button, and then I'll import GEE map. So these 2 libraries will help us in order to generate the parametric maps. So I'll just create my variable map and I'll call GEE map.map function. Syntax is important, and I'll just like this, and I'll just call my map. In order to generate a map into our Jupyter notebook, I'll just hit the run button, and you can see a map has been generated like this. So let's move forward and set the center of the map so that we do not need to drag and drop it again and again. So I'll just type map dot set center, and I'll pass my latitude and longitude to it. So let's say 78, 28, and I'll just pass my zoom level. So let's say zoom level to be 4. Terminate the line using semicolon and hit the run button. So map has shifted itself, and we can see a clear picture of the map, and we have India into our focus. Let's move forward. Now let's import the data that will help us in order to map the sulfur dioxide across India. So I'll just create a variable data. Now where does this data come from? Let's jump to our browser and type Earth Engine datasets. Here we are. So let's go to developers.google.com, Earth Engine datasets. So we have Earth Engine data catalog here. So let's view all the datasets that we are available. So we can browse by tags. We have Landsat data, we have Moody's data, we have Sentinel data, but we'll be interested more into the particular data that will help us in order to create a sulfur dioxide map. Let's type sulfur so that we can get a dataset related to sulfur. So here we are. There are 2 datasets that are available for sulfur. The first one is SO2, the near real-time sulfur dioxide, and other one is offline sulfur dioxide. So we'll go for real-time sulfur dioxide data. So I'll just click it, and we have landed on a page. We have Sentinel 5P, near real-time sulfur dioxide data. Dataset availability is here, dataset provider is here, and the Earth Engine snippet is here. So I'll just copy the Earth Engine snippet like this, and I'll jump back to my Jupyter notebook. I'll just paste it into my data, and I'll terminate the line using a semicolon. Let's hit the run button. So we have successfully imported the data. Now we need to select a particular band. So I'll just make use of .select function, and I'll pass it on a particular band. I'll jump back to my dataset, and as you can see there is bands, and this is the name, these are the units. So I'll just copy this particular band. So you can make use of any other band also, but since we are looking for sulfur dioxide, so I'll just copy this band, and I'll just jump back to my Jupyter notebook. .select function, I have selected it. Now let's hit the run button. So we are good to go. Let's select it for the particular date. So I'll just pass a function .filter date, and I'll pass a particular date. So I'll say 2019. Let's say 06/01. So that's it. Now we need another date so that we can have our data interval. So 2019 06, let's say 11. So it's a good amount of time that we have. That's it. Let's hit the run button, and we are good to go. Now we need a shapefile of India in order to clip our data. So there are various ways to import a shapefile. You can make use of Fiona library, you can make use of GeoPandas, you can make use of PyShape. So there are n number of ways, but since we have already imported the Earth Engine library, let's make use of Earth Engine library. So I'll just make a variable shape and I'll pass a function ee dot feature collection, and I'll pass my path for my shapefile like this, and I'll terminate it using a semicolon. We are good to go. We have the data and we have the shapefile. Let's move forward and let's create an image, and in the image we'll be clipping the data into a shapefile. For that I'll use function data dot mean. Since it is a feature collection, we need to mean the data. Then I will use dot clip function and I'll just pass my shapefile into it. That's it. I'll just terminate the line using a semicolon, and let's hit the run button. So there is no error. We have successfully created the image. Let's move forward and create a display variable in order to display the map. So I'll just be requiring few particular functions. So the first parameter that I'll be using is minimum value, then I'll be using maximum value. Syntax is important. Then again I'll be using the palette. That's it. So for the minimum value I'll be using 0.0 value and I'll just put a comma over here. For the maximum value I'll put 0.005. I'll just put a comma here. And for the palette there are some predefined notions. You can use it or you can use your own palette. It hardly matters. So I'll use a general palette. That's black, blue, purple, cyan, green, yellow and red. So the minimum value will be having the black color and the maximum value will be having the red color. That's it. Let's hit the run button and just put a semicolon over here. We are good to go. So we have generally generated our display variable as well. We have generated the image, we have generated the shapefile, and we have already imported the data. So let's add all these values into a map. I'll just use map dot add layer function, and I'll just pass my image and my display variable to it. That's it. Now let's call our map to see how it has been generated. Let's hit the run button and we are good to go. That's it. A nice map has been generated. Let's zoom it a bit. That's it. So we have successfully generated the map for sulfur dioxide across the India. You can see there is some missing values. This might be due to an error in the sensors, but this is a nice map. It can be used for analysis purposes. So that's it. Let's move forward to the another parameter. That's it. Let's move forward. So we have come to an end to the first part. So in the second part we'll be looking for nitrogen dioxide parameter. Let's move for the second part. So here we are in the second part. We'll be generating the nitrogen dioxide map for India. We have already successfully generated the sulfur dioxide map. So let's create another data variable. So I'll just make it data2, and then I'll just go to my Earth Engine data catalog, and there I'll just type nitrogen. So here we are, the near time nitrogen dioxide and the offline nitrogen dioxide. So let's go for the offline nitrogen dioxide, as we have already seen the real time data for sulfur dioxide. So this time we're going for offline nitrogen dioxide. Here we are, Sentinel-5P data. Dataset availability is here, dataset provider is here, and Earth Engine snippet is here. Let's copy the Earth Engine snippet and let's jump back to our Jupyter notebook. So let's paste the data over here and terminate the line. And one more thing, similar to the previous one, we'll require to select a band. So let's jump to our dataset once again. So let's go to the band section, and there are a number of bands you can select. So we'll be requiring this tropospheric NO2 column number density. So I'll just copy this particular line and I'll just jump to my Jupyter notebook back, and I'll just put a dot select function, and I'll pass my copied tropospheric NO2 column number density over here. Then I will use dot filter date function in order to generate the date time period. So let's say 2019 06. You can put any other date as if you want. It's just a sample date. Then you have to pass another date. So I'll pass 2019 06. Let's say 06. We are good to go. I have already terminated the line using a semicolon. So let's hit the run button. And we have successfully imported the data. We have selected the particular band and we have filtered it as per our requirement. Let's move forward. Since we have already generated a shapefile for India, I'll just clip it to the shapefile and I'll use the similar function. I'll use data2 dot mean and I'll clip it using dot clip function and I'll pass the shapefile to it. Let's terminate the line and let's hit the run button. We have successfully clipped the data into our shapefile. So let's again create a variable display2 similar to the previous one, and let's create variables. So we have minimum, then we have maximum, and then we have palette. That's it. Let's put the minimum value as 0 and the maximum value as 0.002, and for the palette I'll use the same color palette I have used for sulfur dioxide. I'll be using the same one. So here the black will represent the minimum value and the red will represent the maximum value. That's it. Let's put commas over here and just terminate it using a semicolon. Let's hit the run button. Now I'll just add them to my map. I'll use map.addLayer function and I'll pass my image and my display width. That's it. I have changed it as image2, data2 and display2 for nitrogen dioxide. Terminated using a semicolon and call the map. Hit the run button and we are good to. Let's zoom it. That's it. This is the nitrogen dioxide map for India. That's it. Let's move forward. So we have done the two parameters. The first one we have seen the sulfur dioxide, then we have seen the nitrogen dioxide. Next we'll be looking for aerosol index. Let's move forward. So let's start the atmospheric monitoring session, and in this part we'll be looking for the aerosol index. We have earlier imported the sulfur dioxide map and nitrogen dioxide map. So in this session we'll be going for aerosol index. So let's start. As you can see, we have done for sulfur dioxide, we have done for nitrogen dioxide, and it's time for aerosol index. So I'll just create a variable data3, and for that I'll just jump back to my Earth Engine data catalog. Now I have to import the aerosol index, so I'll just type aerosol, and you can see a number of aerosol data I have obtained. So I have used the near real-time data for sulfur dioxide, and I have used the offline data for Sentinel-5P for nitrogen dioxide data. So let's bring the variation so that we can explore different types of data. So for this aerosol optical depth, we'll be using this near real-time UV aerosol index again. Let's go for the data. Here we are, Sentinel-5P, near real-time UV aerosol index. This is the dataset availability, this is the dataset provider, and this is the Earth Engine snippet that we'll be using. So let's copy the Earth Engine snippet and jump back to our Jupyter notebook. Let's paste it over here, and in a similar way I need to select a particular band from this. So for selection I need to go back to my dataset and let's go to the band section. I'll select this absorbing aerosol index. I'll just copy it and I'll just paste it into my select part. That's it. Now I need to select the particular dates so that I can filter my data as per the dates. So I'll use dot filter date function and I'll pass the dates into it. So let's say I'll 2019 06 01. So you can choose the date as per your requirement. I'm just taking a sample date. I'll just take 1 week data. So I'll say 2019 06. Let's say 06. That's it. We are done for it. So I'll just terminate the line using a semicolon and I'll just hit the run button. So we have successfully imported the data. Let's clip the data onto our shapefile. So I'll just make a variable image and I'll just pass my data into it. I say data3 dot mean. I need to mean the data because it is an image collection. If it would have been an image, I would not have required this mean function. So moving ahead, I'll just clip the data into my shapefile. As you can see, I have imported my shapefile like this. So you can import your shapefile using Fiona, using GeoPandas, using PyShape, but I have used the Earth Engine feature collection and I am given the path for my shapefile. So I will use the same shapefile. So I have just terminated the line and I'll just hit the run button. So I have successfully clipped my data onto my shapefile. Let's move ahead and create a display variable, and for that I would require few parameters. The first one is the minimum parameter, then I would require the maximum parameter, and finally I'll be looking for palette parameter. So for minimum value I'll be using -1. Let's put a comma. For a maximum value I'll be using, let's say 2.0. I'll just put it like this. And for the palette I'll be using a standard palette for aerosol index. You can change the palette if you want, but you can use the same palette also. It hardly matters because the color would be changing, but the relative positioning of the colors would be the same. So I'll terminate the line using a semicolon and let's hit the run button. So we have imported the data, we have filtered the data, we have selected the band, we have clipped the data onto our shapefile, we have created a display variable. It's time to add all the layers onto the map. So I'll just pass map add layer function and I'll just pass my image into it and I'll just pass my display variable to it. That's it. Hit the terminal line and I'll just call my map. So I have named it image3, so I'll just also change my name to image3 so that we can get a fair enough picture. So let's run the buttons. That's it, and that's it. Now this is a nice image. So we have obtained the aerosol index for India. So as you can see, as per our color palette, the black region represents the minimum value and the red regions represent the maximum value. That's it. We have generated the map. That's a good enough map. Let's move forward. Let's see what we have next. Next we'll be looking for carbon monoxide. So let's get started for the next one. So let's start the fourth session for atmospheric monitoring. So in the previous sessions we have looked into sulfur dioxide mapping, nitrogen dioxide mapping, aerosol index mapping. So for this session we'll be looking for carbon monoxide mapping. Let's get started. So as you can see, we have done for sulfur dioxide, we have done for nitrogen dioxide, we have done for aerosol index, and this is the time for carbon monoxide. So let's create a variable data4 and let's jump to the Earth Engine data catalog. There we have all the data sets, and let's type carbon so that we can get the dataset related to the carbon. So as you can see, there are n number of datasets that are related to the carbon. So let's see what we require. This time we're going for the offline carbon monoxide data that is available in the Sentinel-5P. And here we are on the Sentinel-5P dataset for the offline carbon monoxide. So dataset availability, as you can see, it's for around 4 years. dataset provider, you can see here, and the Earth Engine snippet that we require, you can get it here. So I'll just copy the Earth Engine snippet and I'll jump to my Jupyter notebook and I'll just paste it here. That's it. I'll terminate the line, but before that I have to select a particular band. For that I'll jump to my dataset, and there you can see there is a band called carbon monoxide column number density. This will be using, I'll just copy this particular line and I'll just pass a dot select function, and there I'll pass it on my CO column number density. That's it. Let's move forward and clip the data for a particular time period. So I'll use a dot filter date function and I'll pass my date for that particular time period. So 2019 06 01, that is a sample date. You can change it as per your requirement. Then you have to pass it on another date so that you can get a time interval. So let's say 06, let's say 11. So 10 to 11 days data is quite fine. So I'll just hit the run button and I'll just correct the spelling here. Then I'll just hit the run button. That's it. Without any error, we have successfully imported the data. Let's clip the data like the previous exercise we have done. We have already created and clipped the data. So I'll just quickly make an image and I'll just call my data 4.mean and I'll just clip my data to it. So let's call our clip function and I'll pass the shapefile into it. That's it. Let's terminate the line and hit the run button. We have successfully clipped the data. Let's create another display variable, and for that I'll be using a similar parameters like minimum, and then I'll use a parameter maximum, and then I'll use a parameter palette. That's it. For the minimum value I'll take 0, and for maximum value I'll take 0.05. That seems very fine. And for the palette I'll use the same standard palette that I have been using for the previous maps. Like this, we have a black, blue, purple, cyan, green, yellow and red. That's it. Let's hit the run button now. So let's add all the parameters onto the map. I'll just call a map.addLayer function and I'll just pass my image. So let's name it image4 because we have already an image variable called image. That's it. So let's pass our image4 and our display4 to it. It seems nice. Let's hit the run button. That's it. We are good to go. Now I'll just call my map so that we can see the map. Here we are. A nice map of India with the carbon monoxide concentration can be seen here. So this is a fine map. So as you can see from the palette, the black, blue and purple regions are having the low carbon monoxide concentration, that is the Himalayan and upper northern regions, and the region with red, yellow and green, they are having the high concentrations. As you can see, this is the region of India that is having high concentration, and this region, the western part, is having a low concentration. That's it. It's a fair enough map to analyze the carbon monoxide condition across India. So now we'll be looking for the methane concentration across India. So let's comment over here the methane concentration, and I'll just make it a heading like this, and I'll move forward and I'll just create a data variable data5, and for that I'll just go to my Earth Engine catalog and I'll just go to view all datasets. Here I'll tap methane, and we have obtained these few of the data sets that contains methane. So I'll go for offline methane data. Here we are. So I'll just copy the Earth Engine snippet and I'll just paste it over here, and then I'll select in a similar manner the band that will require. For that, let's jump to the dataset, scroll it down. In the band section we are getting the CH4 column volume mixing ratio dry air. So I'll just copy it and I'll jump back to my Jupyter notebook and pass it on into my select part, and I'll just again filter the data from using the date function. I'll use dot filter date and I'll pass it on my dates. So let's say 2019 06 01. It's a sample date, you can change it. Then I'll be using, let's say 2019 07 and let's say 15. That's it, 1.5 months. It's pretty enough time. Terminate the line using a semicolon and hit the run button. That's it. Without any error, we have successfully imported the data, and we have already imported the shapefile. So I'll just clip my data. So I'll make a variable image5, and there I'll just call my data 5. I'll mean the data because I'm using an image collection, and I'll just clip my data onto my shapefile, and I'll just terminate the line using a semicolon. Let's hit the run button. We are good to go. Let's create the final display variable. Let's say display5, and there I'll just make few parameters similar to the previous one. I'll use minimum, then I'll be using maximum, and finally I'll be using the palette function. That's it. For the minimum value I'll be using 1750, and for the maximum value I'll be using 1900, and the color palette I'll use the similar color palette as we have used earlier, so no change in that. If you want, you can change it, but this is a standard color palette. You can change it if you want, but I'll go for black, blue, purple, cyan, green, yellow and red. That's it. Terminate the line using a semicolon, and let's hit the run button. We are good to go now. Let's add all the layers onto the map. So I'll just make a map dot add layer function, and I'll just pass my image and my display to it. That's it. Terminate the line and call the map. Let's hit the run button, and we have generated a nice map for methane concentration onto India. That's it. Now it can be clearly seen that the northern region is having high methane concentration, and the western region and the southern region are having methane concentration. That's it. This is what we required to make. There are 5 parameters that we have successfully generated. Let's have a look. So for the atmospheric monitoring, we have looked for the sulfur dioxide map, we have generated the nitrogen dioxide map, we have looked into the aerosol index map, we have analyzed and looked into the carbon monoxide map, and finally we have generated the methane concentration map. So these 5 parameters are one of the most parameters that we require for atmospheric monitoring. So this is it for atmospheric monitoring. See you next time. Thank you.